Hi, welcome back to A Moment with Marta. So today I want to talk to you about high functioning autism. I don't know how many times I've heard over the years, at least it's high functioning autism, which obviously implies that that's easier for someone to deal with, whether it's the individual with autism or it's their family or their teacher, their therapist, or whoever is all involved. So I want to refer back to the earlier video where I talked about how the spectrum, rather than viewing it as a line, it really needs to be viewed as a rainbow. So you have 7 colors in the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. And you want to look at each color as maybe a characteristic or a trait. So you have your overarching rainbow, and let's say somebody is here on blue and they maybe have a harder time with communicating, but you have someone over here that also has a harder time with communicating, but also they have a hard time maintaining eye contact. So they might still both be on blue, but maybe they're over here. Or maybe you have somebody that's higher functioning that is able to communicate verbally, but they don't understand certain social cues. So maybe it puts them over here for that area, but when it comes to certain sensory sensitivities, they still have the same overstimulation that somebody that is considered lower functioning on the autism spectrum would be. So it's really kind of a myth or a misnomer that either one is easier than the other. It really is just there's different challenges. So somebody with high functioning autism typically is able to verbally communicate a little bit more. Maybe they have better eye contact, maybe they're a little bit more social, but you might have some things like maybe they don't read certain social cues. They have a hard time reading body language or nonverbal communication, or maybe they have a hard time understanding phrases like, whatever floats your boat, or, maybe they take things like that literally instead of it being a turn of phrase. Maybe they have a hard time with, being able to convey what they're feeling, especially if they get to where they're frustrated. So, for example, my daughter is high functioning, and a lot of times when I give her an instruction or a direction, she'll ask, "Are you mad at me? Am I in trouble?" And, I reassure her, "No, baby, you're not in trouble. I'm just giving you an instruction. I'm just helping you. I'm giving you a direction and showing you how to do something." But because she has a hard time with seeing emotions and registering what that means and processing all of it, she is not able to connect the dots with those social cues. And so she has a hard time with that. Another thing that is very challenging for people that are higher functioning on the spectrum is they notice some of the differences between themselves and their peers. And it's like they are on the outside looking in. So they know that they're a little bit different. They have a harder time making friends. They're not quite sure why they struggle sometimes, but it's evident, and it's like they're so close but yet so far, so they're just not quite there, and that can be a real challenge for making friends and maintaining friendships. A lot of times people that are higher functioning on the spectrum, they have a specific area of interest. For my daughter, it's dinosaurs, and they might talk about everything they know about that particular subject, and others might get to the point where they're not interested in talking about it further. But somebody that's higher functioning on the spectrum might not recognize that social cue, and so again, it's very difficult to maintain that socialization and those forms of communication. Something else is just, they see and sense a lot, and so being really really close, people expect more of them than they might somebody that's a little bit more lower functioning on the spectrum. And sometimes it's easy to forget that they also have autism. Somebody with high functioning autism can have the same intense sensory overstimulation and the same kinds of meltdowns that somebody that's lower functioning on the autism spectrum does. They might get overwhelmed by noises, or my daughter is very sensitive to touch, and so certain clothing doesn't feel very good. Somebody might be very sensitive to light, and that doesn't change whether you're high functioning or lower functioning. You're still going to be overstimulated. You're still going to have that anxiety. You're still going to have meltdowns because of that stimuli in your environment, where your brain has that hard time processing the information. So it's not a thing where high functioning is easier than low functioning, or low functioning is easier than high functioning. They each have their unique set of challenges, and they each have their unique set of gifts and traits that they bring to the table. So well-meaning people will say, well, at least it's only high functioning, and it's really easy for people to think in terms of, okay, here's a straight line, here's high functioning, here's low functioning. If you're on this end of the spectrum, you're doing pretty good. It's not as big of a deal. But people there that are high functioning, they have challenges and anxieties and hurdles that they have to overcome. And so understanding more about autism, and that no one person with autism is the same, that somebody with high functioning autism can have the same types of sensory struggles and sensitivities as somebody that's moderate or severe with autism, can better help people to understand those that are higher functioning, maybe have those relationships and be able to maintain them, and understand that it's not a trivial thing. It's difficult. It's not the same as what somebody with lower functioning autism has, but they have their own unique challenges. And so I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that. I've heard it a lot. I know I'm not the only one that's probably heard that. And for all of you people out there that are higher functioning on the spectrum, I get it. I have a lot of those proclivities myself. I understand the anxieties. I understand the being outside and looking in and not quite feeling like you fit in, or like you quite fit in with your peers, or like you get what's going on in certain situations. And so that's what these videos are all about, just helping to spread awareness and helping to provide support for those of you out there, and for you parents out there, that I get it. I have a kiddo that's higher functioning. I've got a kiddo that's moderate to severe, and they both have their challenges, and they both have their talents and their gifts, and they're both brilliant in different and beautiful ways. So until next time on A Moment with Marta, bye.